If you follow me on Instagram, you know that I have, let's say, an eclectic taste in music. On any given day, I'm listening to everything from Beethoven to Taylor Swift. But most of all, I love my trap music. But I'm conflicted about it. The way some of my favorite artists glamorize gang life and violence has no effect on me, but for young, impressionable kids in rough environments, the music adds fuel to the fire. I couldn't think of anyone better to discuss this with than my good friend Chris Strong, a former recording artist and champion of the Black community.
What you listening to lately?
A lot of Future.
Come on, man.
A lot of Future. Yeah.
You trolling me?
No, I'm serious. I'm dead serious. There's sheer ignorance in the vast majority of his music.
Straight up.
And I'm completely cognizant of it. Like, it's not even kind of like, really?
Yeah, you're aware.
Like, there's a consciousness about it that I have. And, what's funny about it is I actually, in a lot of ways, there's a little voice inside of me, too, that struggles with this sometimes.
Straight up.
Right? But considering what I do, and the many times that I bring up the issues that go on in the inner city, in the hood, it begs the question, am I contradicting myself? It's easy for me to make the argument.
In my view, right, I come from it. You know me. I did the music thing. Like, I chased it, right?
Yeah.
I got records that sound like Future,
Yeah.
right? But then I got records that sound like Malcolm. Like,
Yeah.
I grew up in Greenwood, Mississippi. The economy there is soybeans and cotton, all right? I came up there during the crack era, late 80s, all right? And I got there when crack got there, right? It wasn't a bustling town. Kentucky Fried Chicken manager was a great job, right? I saw people turn into zombies based on these drugs, right? And then at the same time, hip hop is exploding, right? We fresh off NWA, right? We fresh off MC Hammer. Complete opposite ends of the spectrum,
totally.
right? And then you got Tribe Called Quest pushing the movement that became things like Outkast and UGK and the Ghetto Boys and things like that, right? So I saw reflected in hip hop during those days a balance that showed me the full spectrum of African American life. It showed me our rhythm and our vibe, and it gave me something to identify with. As a kid, you know what's trash and what's not, but you're a kid, you're influenced by what's going on around you or whatnot. The thing that kind of separated me out from the people around me is that I looked at hip hop as something I could do. It was something to be done more than something to be consumed.
Yeah.
And so I made a choice that I was gonna live through hip hop. I was gonna actually become a part of the culture rather than to just take what was being given to me by people around me. A lot of the people around me didn't.
Yeah.
And became satisfied consuming it.
A lot of times I do find myself thinking like, damn, like for a kid living in Southside Chicago, or not even South, I don't even have to go that far, just Southside Dallas.
Yeah.
That energy, what does that do for him? Is that causing him to be productive? Is that a positive influence on his life? Or is that something that's more destructive but influencing from the standpoint that it's empowering a very ignorant behavior?
Exactly. Because everything that he's consuming coming out of this music is something that he sees on a day-to-day basis. The music didn't happen first. It's a chicken and egg type of situation. He's in an environment 5 blocks wide, probably never gets outside it, and he sees these things on a day-to-day basis. And so when he hears the music is just reinforcement. At what point do we draw a line and blame ourselves? I blamed myself.
Yeah.
I drew that line when I made a decision to move the ball forward individually for African-American males as a whole, all right? I assume you probably did some of that yourself because you and I don't leave here and go to the hood no more.
Yeah.
We don't,
I have no reason to.
All right, so I made that determination, and because of that, I no longer consume that type of music. I never exposed my son or my nieces or nephews to that type of content.
Yeah.
And so, in my opinion, we have a responsibility as enlightened young African-American males to get out here and
show a contrast.
And show a contrast, absolutely. We have to show that contrast. If we don't do it, then it doesn't get done and nobody knows that that's profitable, right? Otherwise, those who have interest in making profit will go and crop whatever profit
they can
out of it.
Yeah. And I think a lot of the times, especially when we talk about the issue of guns in these places, they're a distraction. There's a bigger issue. People think I fight against and rail against gun control in the hood because I just want my guns. It's not about that. It's about the fact that when you focus on that, you get to ignore all the shit that actually matters.
There you go.
And then nothing ever gets fixed.
There you go. And we need to express that beautifully in our art, in our music, in our representation of ourselves as individuals collectively and otherwise. I want to do my part. I want, when I'm 75 years old, whether it's good, bad, better, or indifferent, like whatever the case, like I want to be able to say, I busted my ass for the part of my life where I was capable.
Yeah.
And I challenge people to think and live differently. I don't know how to say it any better than that.
Can't say it any better. Can't.